What up, YouTube? Okay. There's something called dictatorship and leadership. Women should submit to men who are leaders, and they should not submit to men who are dictators. And a dictator is somebody who just gives out commands and expects you to obey. It's as simple as that. I am in charge. I'm the head. Do what I say. It doesn't even matter if it makes, little sense. You have to do it. So if I say, go set the barn on fire, you have to do it. That's a dictator. Okay? And oftentimes, I understand that a lot of black women want to help, but I don't think they understand the impact of not being in a two-parent home. Okay? You can't control it. I came on YouTube not because I felt like I was better, but I was able to recognize that I did come from a functional home, at least at one point in time, and I grew up around functional homes, so I was around it. Okay? So all I'm doing is sharing my perspective in regards to what I've seen and been a part of families that actually work, that are actually productive. Everybody's happy, everybody gets along, mother and father are happy with each other, the kids are happy with each other, the kids are happy with the dad, the kids are happy with the mom. So that whole complete happiness. That's what I was around. Okay? And unfortunately, you have a lot of black women who want to help, but you didn't grow up in a two-parent household either. And they'll try to give advice, but it's more so this whole idea of you need to follow a man just because. So in a sense, they're telling women to follow dictators. And this is what happens sometimes, and this is not an excuse, but this is what happens when women tend to make poor choices on occasion. Because some guy told them do this and do that, and I'm supposed to listen to what my man has to say. I have to be submissive, even though it doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, you're following a dictator. This is how a lot of women get exploited. Do this, do that. If you love me, do this. You should do this just because I'm your man. You're supposed to do that. And honestly, a lot of these chicks are following the advice that other black women have given them. You don't follow a dictator. Okay? It's somebody who's a leader. And somebody who's a leader, not just in terms of relationships with the family, but just in general, takes a look at his team, realizes where his team needs to go, develops a plan, and he does so by making sure he incorporates everybody who's on his team, and they just get it done. So he wants to make sure that everybody is okay. Sometimes everybody may not be happy, but he has to, understand that everybody has to benefit, and it's up to him to push that red button. So for the leader, like I said, if he can choose a plan of action that will make everybody happy, he'll do it. But sometimes he has to make choices that you may not like, but it's for the benefit of the group. That's why you have to trust who a leader is. A leader doesn't make personal choices. He'll make a choice that you may not like, but you chose him as a leader because you respect his foresight. And you understand that he has incorporated how you feel and how everybody else feels in terms of emotional, financial, spiritual, all these things that, people don't understand. And with women tending to be more emotional and admittedly claiming to be more emotional, you have men who say, I should be the leader because in those times of need, I will be logical. If you walk into a functional home, whether they're Asian, black, I don't care who they are, you're not going to see some dictatorship where the woman is running around doing X, Y, and Z. Even if you did see it, do you think she's happy? Do you think the kids are happy? No. In the happy homes that I'm talking about, you don't really see what's going on because everybody understands the direction that the family's trying to go into. So the woman's doing her thing, the man is doing his thing. It's not some evil dictatorship where he comes home and, who knows what daddy's going to say today. Daddy may say something crazy and snap if mommy doesn't get it done. No. The only time we're talking about submission, to be real with you, to be real with you, the only time we're talking about submission is when a family needs to make a major choice, such as moving or something with job, something major. I don't know what it is. It's all relative on who you are. For my family, sometimes we wanted to move. My mom was, I want to move into a new house, a bigger home. Because at one point in time, my parents were doing extremely well. We were well over $100K a year. My mom wanted to move, but my dad was like, nah. You know what I mean? He was like, I have to be the logical person. And now that didn't make my mom happy. But my dad knew at the end of the day, he had the final say so. And great thing he did, okay? Because the area that we moved into, or the area that my mom wanted to move into, really tanked in terms of property value. Okay? And the demographics, I would have moved from a, multicultural suburb, okay, where, there's some Mexicans, Asians, Filipinos, whatever you want to call it, other black people, to a predominantly white suburb. And I don't know, I think that played part in why my dad chose not to move. But at the end of the day, my mom had to submit to what my dad wanted. Okay? And once again, my dad didn't do it because, he didn't want to do it, but he was factoring in relocation. You see, my mom was so emotional, but my dad was thinking about the children. He was thinking about the commute, because they would have killed, my parents' commute. They're already driving too far for work. Okay, waking up at 5 a.m, coming back home at 8. And that would have just destroyed. They would have had to have found new jobs. And those are all the things that my dad had to do. And I saw my dad do that. So I understood that leadership, once again, it's about making everybody happy, but it's about moving the family in a positive direction. So you're going to have to make the choice that maybe, is going to make the wife upset, or the kids are upset, or the kids will be upset, and that's not every day. You're not going to be making super life-altering, changing decisions every damn day. Things are going to be normal. Things are going to be smooth. There's going to be problems that come up, and you're going to say, I'm going to let my wife take the lead on this one. There's going to be a problem that's going to come up, and, you as the father, she's probably going to defer to you and say, okay, honey, you handle this situation. And there's going to be times where you guys are dealing with the children, and you're going to be on the same page. For the most part, two people are always going to be on the same page. It's as simple as that. If you take the time and make sure that you are messing with people who share your same philosophy, okay? She can be a great person, or he can be a great person, but if you guys don't have the same viewpoint on life, if you guys don't have the same outlook, there's still going to be problems. So if you take the time to meet good people, but then to also build relationships with good people who kind of share your philosophy, you're not going to have these big battles. You're not going to have a man who's going to start doing crazy things and demanding all sorts of crazy bullshit. You're not going to have a woman who's overly emotional or combative and everything's the issue. You guys are already on the same page. And the only time where this whole act of submission comes into play, okay, is when it's something major. And even then, it's not some WWF or now it's WWE style where you're, forced to tap out. And he turns into some dictator. No. It's that trust that, okay, I know I'm a woman. Women can tend to be emotional. But it's that trust that you have one person that will say, hey, as much as I'm emotional myself, I have to make the logical decision, not for now, but for tomorrow and the future. I have to factor in, what's best for the children. I have to factor in what's best for our finances. I have to factor in, the unknown. Okay, the whole 80-20 rule, right? You could be leaving where you're at in terms of, for example, moving, right? And you don't understand that where you are now meets 80% of what you need, right? Yeah, you're lacking that 20%, but if you move and you go try to, seek that 20%, well, you just gave up your 80%, right? So it's that whole philosophy that goes into men who are leaders. And I know I'll put a lot into this video. Hopefully you guys were able to follow me. But, I commend what a lot of people are trying to do, especially the women. But you have to understand there's something called a dictatorship, and then there's leadership. And for a lot of you guys, you're explaining the whole idea of submission as if you have to submit to a man just because he's a man, just because he says do X, Y, and Z, and if not, he'll leave you. Like, and once again, if you're a woman, you're not going to respond well to that. And as a dude, it's like, yo, I'm not a dictator. You know, you shouldn't be afraid of me. You shouldn't think that I'm going to say anything stupid or to put you down or hurt you. Just understand my leadership. And the few times where we have to make some big time decision, understand that I have to push the red button. It's as simple as that. And when we're not in that mode, things will be normal. You'll handle what you have to handle. I'll handle what I have to handle. And when we both have to make a joint decision, we're already on the same page, so it's not going to be a big deal. You know, you never saw Claire and Bill having any major issue when they had to come together. There was times where she would defer to him and vice versa. And when they came together, it was all love. It was all good. So y'all take it easy. God bless.